Hi everyone, welcome to this video. Today we're going to see how to compute the CVR content validity ratio in Excel because it's actually easier to do it in Excel than in SPSS. And to do so we are going to use different functions in Excel. Notably we're going to use the functions that allow us to count things, because we see that here with the little and the big N's, we have to count things. A first thing that we may want to do, so here we have an example data set. Let me make it a little bigger. So we have an example data set with different items judged by different judges. So we want the content validity ratio and other statistics of item 1, item 2, etc. So I will scroll down here and first generate a few descriptive statistics about item 1. So the first one that I may be interested in, of course, is to compute the mean, the mean rating. So 3 is essential, 2 is useful but not necessary, and 1 is not necessary or not useful, I don't remember. But the point is that 3 is essential. So if we want a mean of these, right, 1, 2, 3, it's useful to examine that. You can just use, so once again, in Excel, whenever we want to put a function in a cell, we start with equal, right? Equal, and the function to compute the mean is called average. Right, and the different arguments here, as soon as you open the parentheses, they tell you what type of arguments it needs. So here all you need is actually the array right here, which contains all the values that you want the average of. So I'm selecting here all of it, closing the parentheses, you see it here and you see it here, and pressing enter, and there I have my mean. Okay, let's now compute the median. The median is obtained via a function that is simply, let me trash that, a function that is simply called median. Right, and so we select the array. It works exactly the same way as average. Press enter. So the median is 3, the mean is 2.44. Well, sounds good, right? Sounds good, because we want the item to be judged as essential for us to keep it. Alright, and I can also have a look at the mode, which is another central tendency, also known as location index, via the function called mode. Right. And I select here the array, right, between parentheses. Boom. Okay, the mode is 3, so our 3 location indices are pretty close to 3. That's a good sign, so it probably will have a high content validity ratio. Right, so how do we compute this content validity ratio? First, let me take this formula right here so that we can see it in action directly. So we need different elements here. We need to count how many times the item has been judged as essential, and we need to count how many times the item has been judged total. And here that is not equal to 30, even though we have 30 judges, because we see that, for example, here judge 25 did not rate this item. Right, so it's actually less than 30 for item 1. Right, but it might vary from one item to another if judges have not fully responded to all the ratings they had to do. All right, so let's do that. Let's first compute this count of essentials, right? So I will just I'll just name that n essential. Let me enlarge this so we can see better. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, there's a very useful function in Excel that is called COUNTIF that will basically count each cell that meets a specific criterion. Sorry. So it's just called COUNTIF here. And so the first argument of this function is the range. So the range is here simply the array that we are interested in. So that's the same array as before. And the criteria, right? What will trigger a count of 1, right? And what will make a cell be counted is a specific criterion. And here, this criterion is 3, right? So if we meet a 3 in the cell, then we count, then we add +1, right? So if I just write 3 here, I will have the count, press enter, I will have the count of how many times essential has been, how many times the item has been rated as essential, right? We can see it here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right? So count of 17. Next thing we need to compute is how many times it has been rated useful but not necessary. Useful but not necessary. And how many times it has been counted as not useful, right? So this plus this should equal to how many ratings we have, right? So the sum of these three will be equal to n afterwards. So counting an item as useful, it is exactly the same formula, so count if, right? Same range, first argument, comma, and the criterion for useful is 2, right? So how many times do I have a 2? 5 times. And then same thing for the last one, count if, selecting the array, comma, and I'm counting the ones. Alright, so how many ratings do I have? I have 17 plus 5 plus 5 ratings, right? So let me create here a new statistic. There's just big N, right, for this item, and that's going to be equal to this plus that plus that, right? Excel understands all the basic mathematical operators such as plus, of course. So I can just press enter and I will have how many ratings I have. And here I have 27 ratings, which is, as I explained earlier, not equal to 30 because here I had 1, 2, 3 missing data, right? So once again, we could have done all of this, of course, by hand. However, where it's really useful to do it like that is that we will be able to increment that right and have all the right statistics for all the items very easily, right? So that's why it's very useful to use Excel in these situations, because it helps a lot, especially if you have hundreds of items, of course. All right, and next step is just to compute the CVR, right? So how do we compute the CVR? We have all the elements. We have n essential, that's here. We have n, that's here, right? So we have everything we need. So the CVR is basically, well, it's a ratio. It's a content validity ratio. So it's just a big ratio, right? With one thing at the numerator divided by another thing in the denominator. Right, so I'm creating this. You don't have to do it in this order. What matters is that you have the full formula in the end, but I find it really useful to start off with that, right? So we have our structure, right? So what is in the numerator? Well, what is in the numerator is first n essential, right? So n essential is right here. We just need to click on it. And then we subtract n divided by 2, right? So here I have to pick n and divide it by 2. So Excel is going to, of course, give priority to this fraction over the minus, right? Because it's a convention in mathematics. But just in case, we're creating here where I'm adding some parentheses around it, and so I'm going to pick n and divide it by 2. So that's it for our numerator. In the denominator, it's just n divided by 2, so that's the same thing, n divided by 2. And that's it. I have my full formula. So here I have my content validity ratio. And as I explained, the good thing in Excel is that we can automatize the process, automatize, something like that. We can automate the process through all the items here. So all I need to do now is just select all of these stats that are created, and then I pick this, this little thing here at the bottom right hand corner. Right, so remember I have to select all of them, and then I click on this one and drag it right to the last item. And here I have all my content validity ratios. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video.